It being 7:10, we'll call this Greenway Advisory Committee meeting to order. Thank you for being here. We do have a couple of new members tonight. Ms. Connie Golden to my left, and down on the far end to my left is Ms. Patricia Farmer. We appreciate you volunteering your time to serve this city on this board. We appreciate it. Just for the sake of them, if we'll start here, Mark, you introduce yourself, and we'll just come right up through here until they'll know who you are.
My name is Mark Dodd. I've been on the Greenway board for probably since it began in one shape or form.
My name's Doug Smith. I've been on the board for a couple of years.
I'm Robert E. Lee, and this is actually my second meeting, so I'm new too.
All right. Thank you again. Appreciate you being here and serving the city in this capacity. You may have received. Did you send out some minutes from the last meeting? Okay. You received the minutes from the last meeting?
Yep.
You had an opportunity to review those minutes, and so I'd like to entertain a motion to accept with changes or as is.
Yes.
We have a motion. Give me a second. Aye. All those in favor accept the minutes as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The staff report, Robin.
Well, everything is going great in Parks and Recreation. Fall leagues are starting up, and football and fall baseball and softball starting up. And we did lose our athletic coordinator. This Friday is his last day, so we will be posting an opening in the Parks and Recreation Department for an athletic coordinator coming up in the next few weeks. And also, we just submitted our application for the state local Parks and Recreation Fund grant for a lightning detector and weather warning system at Veterans Memorial Park. So that's just a little background on what's going on with us. And we have the Howl at the Moon 5K coming up this Friday night. And we're staying very busy. Staff's working hard. Parks look great. And we're glad to have the new members tonight.
Any questions? Robin, let's go right on into the project updates, and let's maybe do a little more background than you may plan on doing as far as the projects we got going on, just to bring a couple of new members up to speed, kind of.
Pretty much the project updates are the same as the discussion items. There's our updates on all the projects we have going on. So you want me to just go into that?
Have we moved any further on that Green? Let's go ahead and follow the agenda under old
Okay.
business. We'll get to the discussion items when we get to that far.
Okay.
Under Greenway Master Plan.
Greenway Master Plan, we have an existing Greenway Master Plan that the city adopted in, was it 99, Mark? I believe it was 1999.
1998.
It was
Some in 98, late 98 or early 99.
It was done in conjunction with Smyrna, and the two cities together got a big chunk of money, federal funds, and the first thing that we did was do a Greenway Master Plan. And it's pretty much obsolete. It's old. Master plans usually you need to update about every 5 to 7 or 8 years, and since that one is now 11 or 12 years old, we are trying to figure out how to fund doing an update of our Greenway Master Plan. So we possibly can use some of our grant money, our federal funding for that, and we're working on seeing if we can do that. But we will keep you posted. We do have a copy of the old Greenway Master Plan in our office that you can look at, or I think we've only got one copy, so if you wanted to have a copy, we just have to make you one. But you can come by our office for sure and look at it anytime. But I think really because of all the growth that's happened in Laverne over the last 10 or 12 years, I think we really need to do an update on that. to really catch up with what's been going on, because so many of the possibilities that were presented in that master plan are gone now. So the main thing we've been working on from that master plan is the first leg that we'd really like to do, because it can showcase what a great natural resource we have here in Laverne, is a leg from City Hall to Hurricane Creek Boat Ramp along the creek and the lake there. And there's already a natural path from an old roadbed. So it kind of is a greenway already. It just needs some love, be cleaned up a little bit. But we've been working with the Corps over the years on getting that approved through their approval process, a long-term lease with them. And hopefully we'll be able to do a little bit of low-impact development at the Hurricane Creek Boat Ramp area to do a trailhead, and then also do a trailhead here at City Hall. And that'll hopefully make a nice first leg of our greenway.
Do we have, Robert, of our old Greenway master plan in a PDF format or anything?
We do not.
Okay.
We can scan it in if you'd like, and
How many pages is that?
it's pretty thick. It is pretty thick, but
I was just thinking, if we're going to continue working on and redoing a master plan, it'd probably be a good idea to at least bring up the three, and I think you probably got that or seen it at some point.
Yep.
I gave
Probably
away my copies.
The 3 new members would be a good benefit for them to have that, to kind of get some sense of where we were at 11 years ago and compared to what we've got today to work with as we move forward working on that master plan.
well, what I might try to do is go in and at least pull out the significant parts of it.
Maybe some of the mapping, that's
Yeah.
probably the biggest thing, is some of the mapping, because a lot
Okay.
of that has changed, and some of it's been developed.
Right.
So just to give them the benefit of knowing what we've been working on
Okay.
before. And
Robin, I
do that.
remember a section 2 that listed all the cultural and historical venues in the city, that tie in, they can be used to tie in a greenway. That might be a good one. But those probably haven't changed,
Okay.
and would be good for some background information.
We can do that.
Any questions thus far?
No, that'd be good to get that information.
Let's go right on into discussion items, and we'll start with Fergus Road.
Fergus Road Sidewalks is the project that is the closest to actually going to construction. We do have grant money for it, so we have to follow all the steps exactly how we're supposed to make sure we don't mess that up. And I believe the latest is that it's ready to go out to bid, except for Title VI. I think the TDOT Title VI compliance, thank you, I couldn't think of the word, is what we're waiting on, and I think that's just like right on the cusp of happening. So so that one should be ready to go out to bid very soon. Once all of the boxes are checked off with TDOT, they'll give us a notice to proceed, and we can put that out to bid. Now, I was telling you that right now, what is funded, it just goes from Murfreesboro Road to the park, or to the first road after the park.
Yes, so Fergus Road.
But I know that with the store going in up there and with all the,
Crazy up by that store.
yeah,
Kids on bikes are making it worse, and, the kids on the Lake Forest are gonna ride their bikes to that store. I mean, it's a Dollar General, they can take their dollar and go. If you look, there's accidents, I live over that area, so there's accidents all the time right there where that store's going in.
right.
It seems. So it's a concern that there's no sidewalks, that the kids can at least get on their bikes and stay off that busy road.
Well, that especially now that store's going in, that may be something we need to look at. It's the next area that we try to get funded somehow to get some sidewalks in. And what we're really doing is just doing little sections when we can, when money comes available, and hopefully eventually they're gonna all tie together. But right now, we've got just the bottom half of Fergus Road. And And then Cheney Road sidewalks, that's something that have been in the works for a while, and a lot of people really would like to see them over by the high school. And we got funding for it, and the design phase is going on right now. And we did bring a very preliminary plan to the board for discussion last month. And our goal, our plan and our goal is to have the design done and be approved for construction so that we can work on that next summer while school's out.
Are they gonna go all the way to the grade school too, or just,
Well,
On the
right
high
now,
school side?
the grade school has sidewalks in front of it,
just
It-
not up to it from the high school? Yeah, okay.
and we're gonna connect where the sidewalks end there at the Smyrna line. We're gonna connect right there and go in front of the high school, and then once it gets to, is it Wolverine that we're crossing the street? We're crossing the street over to the other side, where there's the space that most of the kids walk in anyway. Is what the plan is right now.
On Fergus Road, the
Mhm.
sidewalk's gonna be on both sides or one side?
One side.
What side will that be?
The
The
park
park,
side.
the park side, it will be on the park side, it will be off the road 10 or 12 feet for widening, if that happens, so the sidewalk will be offset to
So if
accommodate
kids are
that.
riding their bicycles, they're not liable to just jump out in front of a moving car there then?
Well,
What will the width be?
I'm just,
a 6-foot design sidewalk width, correct? Or is it 5 or 6?
I believe it's 6.
Okay, I was
I believe
thinking
it's 6.
6 foot wide. But yeah, we'll be off the main road at least, I think it's about 12 feet for a lane.
Yeah, I believe it's actually 10 foot offset.
The only, except for when it gets down to the park and next to the Heritage Valley Drive, I think it's called, it will be pulled back out. Because we did that to stay in the right of way, to keep having to buy that piece of property right there at that residence. So, but if we widen from there down to the park area, eventually, the road would probably split the difference anyways and pull back over to the right. And that keeps from having to tear sidewalks up to put a road in. Okay, any other questions on that? Or you want to continue on about the Cheney? Do you understand what we're talking about on Cheney?
that
Yeah.
Cheney, is that gonna be on the housing side or on the
It
school
it will,
side?
coming off Old National Highway, be on the right side where most of the residential units are at.
Most of the residents.
And it'll
Okay.
follow that until the four-way stop at Wolverine
All
there
the
at the
way
high
to
school.
Wolverine.
And then it will cross over and be on the high school side from that point to the Smyrna city limits. 'Cause
Okay.
the Smyrna city limits, their sidewalks is on on,
They're down there by the apartments.
they're down there. Well, they actually cross over. They're in front of that church there at the city limits,
Yeah.
like you're going in behind the football stadium. They're on that side for a ways. There's none in front of the school. So basically we'll have from there, and of course that's grade schools in Smyrna, but we'll run sidewalks from where it ties there at the church, just adjacent to Laverne city limits, come up to the four-way stop and then cross over to the most of the residential units.
And there's a whole lot more involved in the planning and the right-of-way and then getting all the right approvals through TDOT. So when I say our plan is, and we hope to be building those next summer, that we're really trying to stay on target and on track and get our ducks in a row. But that means we have to be ready, we have to be approved by TDOT and ready to go out to bid in like February. So,
So Fergus Road will actually start before Cheney then?
yes, Fergus Road should be right around the corner, I hope.
Is Cheney Road, is it tied into a park or a walking trail?
No, it does not. This is to be done on safe sidewalks to schools. It's been tied in. Some of the early things we were looking at, two different things in this here, greenways and sidewalks. Our greenway system will incorporate greenways and sidewalks just because of the way it's going to be laid out. But the other aspect of the greenways is sidewalks. And early on, we as a city decided that we wanted to try to put sidewalks to serve the schools so kids can walk safely to school and to encourage walking to school and stuff. And some of the funding we've received in the past have been done through the Safe Routes to Schools program. And so that's where some of the funding came from. So we had early on, even 4 or 5 years ago, we decided we wanted to try to make sure we put plans in to put sidewalks in front of schools or to serve schools from the adjacent neighborhoods. which is kind of confusing, this being Greenways, but we use the same monies for different projects there, and we decided that we wanted to do that.
Well, it's like you, Fergus, it ties into a park, but it seems like you could get some more funding for your sidewalks from like the city. Do you have like a water main breaks? Who in the city goes and fixes that water main?
Well, that would
Do
be
you
Public
have
Works.
Public Works, do they not do sidewalks too? Who else
No.
in the city does sidewalk work?
Nobody would do that. Now, if they have to do a break for a water line or something,
Yeah, but
either-
what I'm saying is, who else does sidewalks? Is there any other in the city that puts sidewalks in? You know, it's part of their,
It's
agenda?
part of
not any city department, no.
I think
Now-
he's asking about funding.
Yeah.
Now, for instance, the city passed an ordinance requiring new development to have sidewalks, or it had to put money in lieu of if it was in an area that sidewalks didn't make sense. There's just no way to ever tie them in. And what that does, to give you an example, there's a break in the sidewalk coming down Murfreesboro Road there, where Fifth Third Bank is going to go. There beside on the corner there, just near Stones River Road. There's a break in the sidewalks there. Well, originally, we left that break there because the bank had announced they were going to build, so we built the sidewalk except for that one section because
The bank should be put that in.
we just let them pay for that when they do the development.
Right.
Well, had we known that that things were going to turn south and, everything construction-wise was going to come to a stop, we probably would have went ahead and done it, and then just let them pay in lieu of. But
if you'd have done it, they'd have tore it all to pieces getting in and out of there with construction.
well, it could have been. It didn't make sense because they had planned on building fairly soon at that time, is what they'd indicated. But of course, things changed, and that's just what happened. But in there it sits. But they still own the property and still intend to
So
build a
we
bank
got a
there.
lot of sidewalks we'll be doing with. It's not necessarily greenways, but
Well, and some of our, like I said, some of our trail system will incorporate sidewalks and
people getting to.
and greenways. Yes, just because of the way it's laid out.
The
But-
definition of greenway can extend from anything from a footpath all the way up to bike lanes.
right.
Ideally in a developed area like inside the city, it'd be a walkway, a landscaped walkway.
Yeah, they run right alongside them.
Yeah, in fact, it may include sidewalks or greenways. It may include some roadway marked off just for part of that, because there may not be a sidewalk there, but the road may be wide enough to incorporate a walking lane on the pavement itself.
I just noticed Smyrna, they've got a bike path on Almaville Road going around to Nissan. I mean, it's been a while since I've been
And
over
it
that
comes
way.
all the way back up to the airport.
I don't know, when did that go?
They did that when they used stimulus money to resurface that. That's a state road.
We had put it in there too.
And they used stimulus money to do that. Now, we're widening Waldron Road.
Yeah.
Now, we won't have a bike lane, but we're having sidewalks on both sides of that road. There'll be sidewalks on both sides of the road, all the way from 41 Highway all the way out.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Some areas they actually they do a thing called rails to trails, where they take old railway right away
Right.
and turn that into trails. Ashland City's got an excellent one that runs all the way from the city
It's
down
already there.
towards the dam. Yeah, the grading's already there, and we don't have that opportunity, but one opportunity we do have is what Robin spoke about, the stretch of road, the old Stones River Road that's on Core land that runs to Hurricane Creek. If you get a chance to walk that, it's really nice right now with a little bit of work. The bridges are still in, I think, in most cases. Even the asphalt is still in place. It's old, but it's an opportunity there to fairly cheaply, get a section of Greenway in.
Anything else thus far? No.
And as the Vice Mayor mentioned, the Planning Commission and the board had passed an ordinance several years ago now, where new construction and new developments have to put in sidewalks, and that has been very helpful, because we were playing catch-up for so many years.
So would that Dollar General have to put in sidewalks around him?
I believe so.
I'm not sure if it's correct. The way our ordinance is, it is required, or if the planning commission feels that this new development is in such an area that sidewalks just don't make sense because they just don't tie in anything, or it may be in the middle of something that's already developed out with no sidewalks, then what they do is they'll take in lieu of, and so which means they have to put money into a greenways or sidewalk fund. And then the city can come back, and if development goes in and here, and then we got a little stretch we got to buy, we can use that money to buy and actually finish tying it together. And I'm not certain if.
And that's a good question. I'll find out, because that would be a good place to have
It's
them.
just crazy, that park,
Yeah.
you know, that mobile home park.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like 5 neighborhoods converge right into that corner.
Right. And eventually it needs
it's gonna be
sidewalks up there,
crazy.
and that would be a good start and give us something to connect
Tie it from
to.
the park, then you don't have that far, yeah.
Right.
I'm not
So-
sure. I'm not sure what the planning commission.
Yeah,
requires
I
of that.
will find out about that, because, they're usually pretty good about thinking it through. But that's been very helpful, because then we just have to come in, fill in the gaps. And eventually, we're starting to have,
Because I'm around blueprints and construction all day long, that's just a common thing. Everything's got to have sidewalks. That's medical, mainly everything. Well, actually, I'm all over 4 or 5 different counties, and everybody's sidewalks.
yep,
So that one, it's just mandatory, you don't have it. Unless you said, like you said, there's no reason.
Yeah, there are some few
Sidewalk for 10
exceptions.
miles, and you gotta have this in that front.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah. You know, you got 100 feet or something of sidewalk, and you do see that occasionally when I travel in different cities and stuff. You'll see that. You'll see a little sidewalk. They think, man, they probably should have done it in lieu of, you know, because it doesn't make sense. Everything's developed around it.
Put some plants out there front.
In either case, they'll pay the cost. of
Yeah,
putting it
they'll pay for it
They
whether it
don't
goes
put
up
it
on
in.
their property or somewhere else.
Yeah.
They still
which
have
has
to pay.
been very helpful, because we use that in lieu of money to fill in the gaps exactly like it's supposed to. So we're just really trying to get, Laverne has potential to be a walkable community, and that's what we're trying to make it be.
It has huge potential to be a walkable
It
community.
does. The size
To have
of
the
it,
sidewalks.
yes.
The size is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do. That's our goal, is make it a more
That Cheney
walkable
Road
community.
sidewalks, they need us bad out there.
Yes.
And when you were talking about the other day in the planning commission, y'all got it all, it's ready to go. Well, y'all got figured out how you come down and you walk across.
Yeah, I think that's the best
That's
thing.
just-
And we're also want to look forward, look to the future. It may be 2 years from now, maybe 5 years. I don't know. But you know, when we sit here and try to look at these sidewalks, you say, okay, you know, this funding is coming from this source, but there may be the time when you need to widen that road, and so therefore you try to take in account that. That way you don't do it, and then 3 years later you rip up the sidewalks to widen the road, and that's wasteful spending.
Right.
You know, if you think there's any potential that you don't need that, and if you're in a certain area and you know you're not going to do it, that's one thing. But to put a sidewalk in, you know,
They walked to that school from us, only little on Sanders, that couple of down over,
yes,
and they walked from there over to the house.
there's a lot of walking there.
Yeah. Like a match
Sure.
was like in front of it, I'm glad I'm not around that time of day. I'll make sure I'm not around.
Okay. You want to continue about Brookside, and you know, you're going to make mention that we've applied for an extension for that.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Brookside Park Trail. Brookside Park is on the other side of the interstate, and it's right by Dove Creek, Farmingdale.
It's on Dove Creek though.
Dove Creek, yes. We, the city had a little chunk of land over there, and then Brookside donated some floodplain and another chunk of land that we're gonna actually eventually, hopefully, do a park there. But we got a state grant, RTP, what is that?
Regional trails.
Regional trail. There's so many pots of
You want me to
money
tell
out
it?
there.
Go ahead.
So
I think it needed, wouldn't it?
we got an RTP grant, and we were waiting for Brookside to build the bridge over the creek to the little chunk of land that they had donated us, and they stopped construction, so we never did get our bridge built. So we're just going to go in from the side, because this money is due to expire at the end of this year. But we did put in for an extension, and it has been granted. So we are in the process of designing this trail, and this is actually a greenway. This is an actual trail, and it's going to be a nice little trail. It goes along the creek there.
And it goes into Cane Ridge, or it's going to go in?
We hope it's going to go into Cane
That was
Ridge.
the original, Brookside's original, that's how they sold those houses, was that was gonna go into they were doing that.
Well, there's
Really? I
also,
didn't know
what about the
that.
sewer? Cane Ridge
Park?
Park.
Yeah.
Well, there's the sewer easement that comes off of,
There could be a connection at the end of Blakemore.
yeah, at the end of
that could
Blakemore.
tie in.
There's-
We've talked about that before.
We
Actually,
have,
I've seen
and-
kids
and
walk it already. so.
Actually, the engineering firm that's doing the design on that right now also does a lot of work for Metro, and they actually talked to Metro's Greenway person, and they are all for it. If we could figure out a way to make it connect,
That's
we-
amazing how that perspective has changed, because years ago when we broached it originally, they were all concerned about policing issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was jurisdictional, and what do you do if there's a problem, you know, at the
And-
park versus on the trail?
And there will be
Yeah,
some
I mean,
issues
there's gonna
like
be some
that,
challenges.
but hopefully we can figure out a way, because the actual plat of Brookside, that didn't really include anything, but that land has since been sold, and they may look at making some adjustments to the plat, so hopefully we can make some connectivity. So,
Will the Brookside Trail go to the schools?
Brookside
Will
Trail,
it extend out?
No.
You know, we had the master plan, had that in there, and
yeah, there's some of the development over there, we didn't stay on top of it, and I don't know that there is currently a way to get there.
Well, the only way it could happen is the Brookside Trail will run from Stone Ridge approximately, there at Stone Ridge, and around the creek, and then run back on the backside and possibly tie into Carruthers Crossings, which is partially in Rutherford County and partially in
from there, there's a water and sewer line easement that runs all the way up to the school.
Yes, I was gonna say, there's some land there in that curve, in that first S curve coming here.
Right at,
just
about
past the
at the city
creek.
limits.
Yeah, right there near the city limits, that's inside Laverne. And that property had been for sale, for development purposes. And so the connectivity, which I'd hope would be in a new master plan, would show it going through that area. That'd be the only way left of going through some undeveloped land to get back up to the school. That'd be the only route that's not been developed
That's
out.
acceptable. It's
Yeah,
just-
that would be
I just want to make
wonderful.
sure that it stays on the master plan.
Yes.
Yes.
And that our planner and planning commission know when this comes before you know, when the plats come in, that it's on the plat, so it doesn't get overlooked and we wind up locked.
And see, that's what the last 4 years or so has been real good with planning commission, you know, trying to make sure
Got some
that,
breathing room.
you know,
I mean,
to-
things have kind of slowed down.
you know, but it's actually, they've really worked closer to try to make this happen. And, but that'd be our connectivity, and I'd hope it'd stay in the new revised master plan when that gets done, because that'd be the only undeveloped land to tie back in there, but it can be tied in through that route.
Okay, well, great.
What did you say about the plats that are being revised? Or they need to be,
What's that now?
the plat for this?
Well,
master plan.
that's for the Brookside subdivision.
Right.
It just changed hands, and I don't know what's gonna happen with it, but I'm gonna talk to planning commission about keeping in mind that we'd like to connect it to Cane Ridge.
Water, sewer.
Well, there's also,
Best place.
I think Smyrna's Greenway system is coming in from the other direction too, so ultimately.
Now, we
head out
have
towards the
talked
Rock
to
Springs area.
Smyrna about connecting over by the airport area somewhere.
Well, that's, yeah. that's
But
really-
we're not, as far as a greenway, we're not really, that's not as close as, and from our perspective, we're not ready to really put greenways down over there, but we have talked to them about connectivity around the airport area.
No, I was referring to the Rock Springs side.
Oh, okay,
coming in
okay,
towards Rock
yeah,
Springs.
yeah.
You know, that's going to be a bit of a challenge for everybody because of right of way, but
Well,
you
if
know,
we
those
can
things
get,
can be overcame.
if we can get to the school and get around the old orchards there, the old peach orchards, we can tie in, because there are sidewalks in front of Pinnacle Point and down at Martin's Bend, tying back that way. So we do have some connection points there.
Yeah, so when it plays out, you could have a large loop that circles all the way to Smyrna, out past the
Absolutely.
airport, and all the way back down Walden Road. So your 5K run could maybe become a 10K run.
Okay. Any questions? And I know it's just a lot to take in, especially for the new members. It's a lot to take in. You know, we got Mark down here that's been involved with this board for, you know, forever.
Since we first wrote it out on a
Since the
napkin.
beginning. You know. But any other questions? Okay. All right. Anything you want to add, Robin? Anything?
Good discussion.
If y'all have any questions or something, please call. You can call me or call Robin and try to answer any questions you might have. And that's where we're at on any of those projects.
So how do we support you in the meantime in what you're trying to do in between meetings?
That's a real good question. Right now, there's not a whole lot. You know, just keep your eyes and ears open and think when you think of ideas and just kind of familiarize yourself with the places that we're talking about so that we can have good discussions like this. There will probably come a day where we'll, especially if we get to revise the master plan, we may even take some field trips and, you know, get out there and tromp around. And hopefully that we can do that in the next year.
Do we know what it's going to cost to revise that plan? An idea?
I think they said like $60,000, $60,000.
Probably close.
I don't know why I'm thinking 10 years ago. Maybe that's about right.
Where can we go?
Maybe my memory
to look at
though.
this? Where's this at?
Where's what?
The revised plan, where's it at?
Well,
Is that to look at it?
No, the old plan.
The old plan,
The old plan. We've not done a new plan yet.
Right,
we have a copy of it at the Parks and Rec office. We're gonna try to scan the pertinent parts in and send it to you, but if you wanna just come look,
I didn't know it was that big.
it's, yeah, it's pretty,
It's pretty thick.
Take me 2 weeks to revise my eyes.
yeah, and some of it's not easy reading either, but quite a bit of it is interesting.
We don't have anything at all that's in the works. This is it right here. I mean, actually, no
Fergus
construction
Road's going out to
on.
bid.
Fergus Road should be,
Yeah, there's no construction going on at the moment, no.
I'd like to see construction popping and going all the time somewhere.
I would too.
I'll win the lottery one day and I'll look y'all
All right.
up. I'll hire Rollins down there in Murfreesboro, they'll take care of it.
Well, the sidewalks are you said a part of the Waldron Road.
Yes, yeah, I mean, if you don't count
So-
them, Waldron Road, the sidewalks are part of that. Although
Yeah.
sidewalks money's not paying, but we're paying for that out of road product money.
Cool.
But it's still, it is connective point from here to the interstate, which is needed.
Yeah.
So it will be that connectivity
And
there.
there's been.
That's a
in the
2-mile
last,
stretch.
What, 5 years, 6 years? There's been quite a bit.
quite a bit. Stones
accomplished.
River Road and
That was
Murfreesboro
originally, you know, on the
Road.
plans, that just takes forever to get the right of way and then,
Funding.
funding too. Sometimes that beats the right of way though.
There's a lot of steps just to get the shovel out there.
And,
A lot of
and
steps.
we've done a few things to get ready for this, section down to Hurricane Creek, such as the, under the bridge over here. We changed the design of that a little bit to make it easy. Instead of crossing
pedestrian
over the road, you
underpass.
can go right under on the.
Yeah. See, it's already
on
in
the
place.
bridge.
When we did the extension road there, that was forethought, you know, that the bridge was wide enough and deep enough where you can ride under it without bumping your head. So, you know, there's some thought going forward to keep from having to dig out or redo a bridge or go over the road, which we don't want. We don't want to go over the road. If you can go on the roadways, that's what you want to try to do.
If you get approval from the Corps, there's some trails already
Yeah, and the Corps has
already
been,
made through that property behind us, I know.
Yeah, so some of the challenges there are, there's some plant life that's protected, and then there's issues with, it's a wildlife management area, so we have to, you know, really, really coordinate
Yeah,
and work
back
with
up to
people.
that property. But what I'm saying is there's existing trails.
Oh, yeah.
There
I
are,
mean,
but
they're all over through there,
there's, in some of the hunting areas, there's,
right behind my house,
yeah,
the beagles.
and see, that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we we want to make sure that everyone can enjoy it, whether it be the hunters or the ones going and walking, and find some kind of compromise, and where everybody can enjoy the environment there. That's what the goal
It's
is.
great, I mean, just, if you haven't gone out there on a Sunday when they're doing the dog training and runs, or those, it's pretty interesting what they're doing out
But
there.
some of these
Somewhere
use,
ride my four-wheeler.
no, that's it. That's what
I want to ride.
I was
They
gonna-
do it, but they're not supposed to.
I was
do
gonna
it.
bring that up. That's one of the things. That's why when we did Stones River Road and stuff out there, we wound up putting a guardrail all the way down because the four-wheelers and stuff, which are prohibited on that property. And part of the reason is because there are protected coneflowers and different species out there of plant life that are endangered that get trampled on. And most people don't know. They don't even think of that. But you know, it's just damaging the environment. So our idea is going down through there with the trail system, and you know, if there's some significant plant life or something, you're acknowledging that, but try to make sure that you don't get off the trails.
Well, you know, my opinion on it is that a greenway trail system actually helps those environmental concerns because it channels the traffic instead of being just anywhere and everywhere. And then these,
Like Long Hunter State Park, not only does it channel the traffic, it's telling you what's there. I
of
mean,
course,
they have them
yeah.
on the trees.
The interpretive
they have-
information is an opportunity to do
Yeah.
it.
So people
the-
start to understand, you walk that more than, I mean, I think I've read everything out there probably 7 times now.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, we
It's
hope to
real
do
easy for
that.
somebody to get off a trail on these glades and just head out across a piece of land that might have only 1 inch of soil on it, and it's easy to damage that. So having a marked trail system, you know, maybe it would discourage people from heading off into the undeveloped areas.
The upcoming events, of course, Friday is the Howl at the Moon at 8 o'clock at Pavilion B. It starts at Pavilion B inside Veterans Memorial Park. And I don't. How many of you got signed up for that?
We have 170 something pre-registered so far.
Good.
What's the most you've had?
250, close to 250 is what we had last year.
Last year was the biggest.
Yeah. And we're doing chip timing this year, so
Oh, really?
hopefully that takes us to the next level.
And then Old Timers Day is September 18th. That'll start with the ham breakfast at the Vergne Rescue Squad over on Gamble Lane, and then end with fireworks in the park at 8:30ish or so. Any other comments from anyone? Okay.
That, what's that over behind that Brookside, that great big, that trucking company that owns that? I got that right on the other side of the interstate there?
And that's not behind Brookside there. You're talking about the Nakarada truck
Yeah,
site?
Yeah.
Okay.
It got that whole big,
Yes.
what about that gravel sitting up there on the hill? Can we scavenge that, and use that for a sidewalk? Save us some money. It's just sitting there, can we use that for?
Yeah, I'm sure they're selling that.
Yeah, good
Well,
try.
Well, but sure they are, but since we're,
Dug some pretty big holes back there.
you're talking about doing a little procuring of some sort.
that's quite a bit of rock over there, sure, they can, slide here and there.
I think they're saving that for development there. They got some things in the works in that area. Good thing, you know.
Yeah.
Anything else? Except from Robert?
This, Howl at the Moon, is there gonna be checkpoints through this? Or is
No,
this just
it's an out and back. It starts at the park, at the back part of the park, right by Pavilion B, and we run out of the park and out to Murfreesboro Road and down here to City Hall and go through, make a loop through City Hall, and Box 100 sets up at the pavilion.
I know, I've already got cornered in.
Yes, yes. And and it's not really a checkpoint, it's more of a water station.
Hydration.
Yeah, and they come through and get water and then back up to the park, and the finish line is the same as the start line.
Can I ride my four-wheeler on that?
No, you need somewhere for this.
Tell you what,
On the-
I believe you can get
on
in
the
the
ship,
rescue,
Are
get
you
into
just gonna
the,
have the start, or is there gonna be like a second?
That I do not know, because we've hired somebody to come in and do the start-finish line. They usually do a thing that you have to run across somewhere during the course, so my guess would be that they'll put one out there.
I was gonna say, Robert, you can probably get an Old Timers Day parade in your four-wheeler.
There you
What I
go,
usually
there you
do is just go
go.
out to one of our job sites, like we're doing 11 school now, that's a pretty big one. You go out there and ride all day, you'll never make it all the way around.
Our next meeting for this board will be October 18th here at City Hall. All right. Thank you, Ms. Robin. Kimberly, thank you. You've been awfully quiet tonight. If there's nothing else, this meeting's adjourned.